The discarded gift. Commander Sarah Chen squinted at the holographic display, trying to make sense of the massive structure drifting at the edge of Neptune's orbit. The object had appeared 3 days ago, seemingly from nowhere, and initial scans suggested it was artificial and alien. Any response to our hails? She asked Lieutenant Ramirez, who shook his head. Nothing, Commander. It's just sitting there. The Deep Space Monitoring Station Triton wasn't equipped for first contact scenarios. Chen had already alerted Earth's United Defense Force, but even their fastest vessels would take days to arrive. Until then, she was on her own with her small team of 12. "I'm picking up unusual energy signatures," said Dr. Thomas Wells, the station's science officer. "Not consistent with any known propulsion system, and the structure." He manipulated the display. "It's damaged. Severely." 3 days later, the UDF flagship Horizon arrived, carrying a specialized first contact team. Admiral Kazuo Ashikawa stood beside Chen on Triton's observation deck, watching the shuttle circle the alien vessel. "It appears to be a derelict," Ishikawa said. "A wreck. No life signs, minimal power readings. We're sending in the engineering team." Dr. Elena Rice floated through the cavernous interior of the alien ship, her helmet light illuminating strange geometries and materials unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. As head of the UDF's Xenotechnology Division, she'd studied recovered alien artifacts for 15 years, but nothing compared to this. "It's a ghost ship," she reported over the comm. "Environmental systems offline, no artificial gravity. But the hull integrity is remarkable. Despite obvious weapons damage, the internal atmosphere hasn't vented completely." Her team of engineers and scientists spread throughout the vessel, carefully documenting everything they found. The ship was enormous, nearly 2 kilometers long, but oddly empty. No personal artifacts, no bodies, nothing to indicate who had built it or crewed it. Dr. Reyes called Dr. Quaim Osei, her deputy. "You need to see this." In what they assumed was the bridge, Osei had discovered a strange crystalline structure embedded in the floor, a lattice of translucent material that pulsed with faint blue light. "It's the only thing still drawing power," Osei said. "Minimal, but consistent." Reyes knelt beside it, her instruments scanning the structure. It's processing something. Running calculations. This might be the ship's central computer." Over the next 2 weeks, the UDF established a permanent research base inside the alien vessel. Teams of scientists worked around the clock, cataloging and analyzing every aspect of the derelict. The consensus was that the ship represented technology centuries beyond humanity's current capabilities, but in its damaged state, most systems were inaccessible or non-functional. Except to Dr. Reyes. She'd become obsessed with the crystalline computer, spending hours observing its subtle energy fluctuations. "It's responding to us," she insisted during a briefing. "The energy patterns change when we're working nearby. It's watching." Admiral Ishikawa frowned. "Are you suggesting the ship is sentient, Doctor?" "Not exactly," Reyes replied. "But I believe its systems are more intact than they appear. They're just dormant, waiting." "Waiting for what?" asked Commander Chen. "I don't know yet, but I intend to find out." That night, Reyes remained alone on the bridge, her equipment arrayed around the crystalline structure. She'd developed a theory. The crystal wasn't just a computer, but an interface designed for neural interaction. "Let's try something new," she murmured, attaching electrodes to her temples. She'd modified a human neural interface to match what she believed were the alien system's parameters. The moment she activated the connection, the crystal flared with brilliant blue light. Reyes gasped as information flooded her mind, not words or images, but pure mathematical concepts, fundamental principles of physics and engineering. When her team found her hours later, the bridge had transformed. Dormant consoles now glowed with soft light, displays showed scrolling alien symbols, and the air had fresh circulation. It worked. Rice said, her eyes wide with excitement. I communicated with the ship's systems, and they responded. Over the next month, Rice and her team made extraordinary progress. The neural interface allowed them to activate more of the ship's dormant systems, and the vessel itself seemed to be adapting to human interaction, reconfiguring its interfaces to be more compatible with human physiology. It's learning from us, Rice explained during an emergency council meeting transmitted from Earth. The ship wasn't abandoned. It was gifted, left for us to find. Gifted by whom? Demanded the UDF General Secretary. We don't know yet, Rice admitted, but the ship's database contains references to something called the Galactic Confederation, a coalition of spacefaring species. The information is fragmented, but we believe this vessel was once part of their defense fleet. The implications were staggering. Humanity had long debated whether we were alone in the universe. Now we had confirmation not just of alien life, but of an organized interstellar community, one that apparently knew about Earth. Why would they give us an advanced warship? Asked Admiral Ishikawa. That's just it, Rice said. I don't think it was meant to be functional. The damage patterns aren't consistent with battle. I believe the ship was deliberately crippled before being placed in our solar system. They gave us a puzzle, not a weapon. 3 months into the research mission, humanity's understanding of the alien vessel had advanced tremendously. Rice and her team had restored basic propulsion, allowing the ship to be moved to Earth orbit for more comprehensive study. Teams of engineers worked to incorporate human technology where alien systems couldn't be restored, creating hybrid solutions that were neither fully human nor fully alien. Then, without warning, a massive vessel appeared at the edge of the solar system. We're receiving a transmission, announced Lieutenant Ramirez, now stationed aboard the alien ship, which the team had nicknamed Phoenix. On the main display appeared a being unlike anything humans had seen before, vaguely humanoid but with iridescent scales and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. People of Earth, it said, the words translated by an algorithm derived from the Phoenix's database. I am Emissary Tholax of the Galactic Confederation. We have observed your interaction with our gift. Your progress is unexpected. We wish to establish formal contact. Admiral Ishikawa, now commanding the research operation, stepped forward. We welcome peaceful contact. May I ask why your Confederation left this vessel in our system? The alien's upper eyes narrowed. It was deemed appropriate to provide your species with inspiration, a glimpse of what awaits beyond your world. Though the vessel was rendered harmless, of course. Of course, Ishikawa replied diplomatically, though Rice could see his jaw tighten. We would like to send a delegation to observe your progress. Tholax continued. The ship you call Phoenix was once a minor scout vessel. We are curious how your primitive technology has interfaced with its basic systems. Rice fought to keep her expression neutral. The Confederation clearly didn't know how much they'd accomplished. The Phoenix was far from a minor scout vessel. Its database suggested it had once been a significant military asset. We welcome your delegation, Ishikawa said. We have much to learn from the Confederation. After the transmission ended, Rice pulled the Admiral aside. They're lying, she said quietly. The Phoenix wasn't a scout ship, and they didn't expect us to restore it so quickly. They're concerned. Ishikawa nodded slowly. Then perhaps we should prepare a proper welcome for our visitors. Dr. Rice, how quickly can you implement those theoretical improvements you mentioned last week? Rice smiled. With a full team working around the clock, we could have the Phoenix ready for a demonstration within days. Make it happen, Ishikawa said. Let's show the Confederation exactly what primitive humans can accomplish. The human touch. Dr. Elena Reyes stood in the transformed heart of the Phoenix, surrounded by a seamless blend of alien technology and human innovation. What had once been a dead crystalline structure now pulsed with vibrant energy, tendrils of light extending throughout the ship like a nervous system. Integration at 97%, reported Dr. Osei. his fingers dancing across a console that combined holographic alien interfaces with human tactile controls. The adaptive algorithms are exceeding all projections. In the 3 days since the Confederation's contact, the Phoenix research team had worked without rest, implementing every theoretical upgrade they'd developed over the past months. But their most significant breakthrough had come from an unexpected direction. "The neural interface is ready for final testing," said Commander Chen, who had joined the project as operations director. She gestured to what they now called the Synergy Chamber, a circular room where 6 acceleration couches surrounded a central pillar of pulsing light. Reyes nodded. "The Confederation delegation arrives tomorrow. This is our last chance to ensure everything functions perfectly." The neural interface had evolved far beyond Reyes' initial crude connection. They'd discovered the Phoenix was designed to form a symbiotic relationship with its crew, not just accepting commands, but actively anticipating needs and adapting its systems accordingly. It was neither fully artificial intelligence nor simple machinery, but something unique that had no parallel in human technology. And it responded to humanity's approach in ways its original creators had never envisioned. "Take your positions," Ishikawa ordered as he entered the chamber. Despite his rank, the Admiral had insisted on joining the core interface team. "Dr. Reyes, you have command." Reyes settled into the primary connection couch, electrodes connecting to the neural implant she'd received 2 months earlier. Around her, 5 others did the same: OC, Chen, Ishikawa, and 2 specialist engineers named Yoshida and Paddle. Together, they would form the Phoenix's command nexus, initiating primary connection in 3, 2, 1. The world dissolved into streams of data and sensation. Reyes felt her consciousness expand, intertwining with her teammates and with the ship itself. The Phoenix responded eagerly, its systems illuminating with newfound energy. Through the neural link, Reyes could sense every aspect of the vessel, from the microfusion reactors humanity had installed to replace the damaged alien power core, to the experimental quantum field generators that now supplemented the ship's defensive capabilities. "Phoenix is online," she announced, her voice echoing strangely as both sound waves and data packets. "All systems functional." Through the ship's external sensors, she observed the Earth below, the blue jewel floating in the void. The Phoenix had been moved to a higher orbit in preparation for the Confederation's arrival, positioned where its new capabilities could be demonstrated without risk to the planet. "Propulsion test commencing," said OC through the link. The ship moved with impossible grace, accelerating at speeds that would have liquefied an unprotected human crew. But within the Phoenix, inertial fields adjusted perfectly, compensating for forces that should have torn the vessel apart. The hybrid drive system, combining the alien gravitic principles with human fusion technology, performed beyond all theoretical limits. "Weapon systems online," reported Commander Chen, targeting the designated test drones. A swarm of unmanned craft deployed from the Phoenix's launch bay, each programmed to simulate hostile action. The ship's defensive systems responded instantly, not with the destructive energy weapons that the vessel had originally carried, but with something entirely new. "Quantum distortion fields functioning nominally," said Yoshida, the field systems specialist. "Containment is stable." The test drones found themselves caught in invisible bubbles of warped spacetime, immobilized without being damaged. It was a defensive technology that hadn't existed 3 months ago, born from human theoretical physics applied to alien practical technology. "All systems performing at optimal levels," Reyes announced as they completed the test series. "Phoenix is ready." They disengaged from the neural link, each team member blinking as their consciousness returned to the confines of their individual bodies. Admiral Ishikawa smiled, a rare expression for the normally stoic officer. "Outstanding work, everyone. Tomorrow, we introduce the Galactic Confederation to humanity's potential." The Confederation delegation arrived with unmistakable pomp. 3 vessels entered Earth orbit, sleek ships with lines that somehow suggested both organic growth and mathematical precision. The largest, bearing emissary Thilax and his diplomatic team, approached the Phoenix cautiously. "They're scanning us," reported Lieutenant Ramirez from the communication station. "Very thoroughly." Rise, monitoring the ship's systems, smiled slightly. "Let them look. The Phoenix is revealing exactly what we want them to see." The delegation transferred via shuttle, a small craft that seemed to flow rather than fly through space. Thilax emerged first, accompanied by 6 other aliens of varying species. Their expressions were difficult to read, but their body language suggested a mixture of curiosity and condescension. Emissary Thilax greeted Admiral Ishikawa in the docking bay. "Welcome aboard the Phoenix." The alien's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Admiral, we are surprised by the functionality you have restored to this vessel. Most impressive for your technological level." "Thank you," Ishikawa replied, ignoring the backhanded compliment. "We've prepared a demonstration of our progress. If you'll follow me to the observation deck." As they moved through the ship, Rise watched the aliens carefully. Their eyes darted to the hybrid technology. The interfaces, the subtle alterations humans had made to the vessel's interior structure. One of the delegation, a tall, spindly being with what appeared to be technological components integrated into its body, seemed particularly disturbed. "This is not possible," it whispered to Thilax in what they thought was a private exchange. But the Phoenix's enhanced systems picked up and translated every word. The integration patterns show innovation beyond their developmental stage. They cannot have understood the underlying principles. Thilax silenced his colleague with a gesture as they reached the observation deck, a vast chamber offering panoramic views of space, Earth visible as a distant crescent. "Now," said Ishikawa, "allow us to demonstrate what Phoenix has become." At his signal, Reyes and the command team activated their neural links. The ship came alive around them, systems powering up to full capacity. Through the viewports, the delegation watched as the Phoenix began to transform, sections of the hull shifting and reconfiguring, the entire vessel seeming to ripple like liquid metal before settling into a new configuration. "This vessel," Rise explained through the neural interface, her voice emerging from the ship's communication systems, was designed with remarkable adaptability. "We discovered that it responds not just to commands, but to creative problem-solving, to imagination." The alien delegation's composure fractured. Several stepped back in alarm as the deck beneath them subtly reshaped itself, becoming more accommodating to their varied physiologies. "What have you done?" demanded Thilax, his scales changing color rapidly. "This was a decommissioned Sentinel-class vessel. You should not have been able to activate its transformation capabilities." "Sentinel-class?" Ishikawa raised an eyebrow. "Your initial communication referred to it as a minor scout vessel." The tall cybernetic alien hissed something in an untranslatable language. Thilax's scales darkened further. "There has been a significant miscalculation," he admitted. "This vessel was intended as a gesture of goodwill, a glimpse of advanced technology that your species might reverse engineer over decades. Its core systems were supposed to be permanently disabled." "They were damaged," Rice said, "not disabled. And humanity has always excelled at fixing broken things." Outside, the Phoenix continued its demonstration. The quantum distortion fields engaged, creating visible ripples in the fabric of space. The ship accelerated, then stopped with impossible precision, maneuvering with a grace that defied its massive size. "Most importantly," continued Reyes, "we discovered something your Confederation seems to have overlooked. This ship was designed to learn, to adapt. You treated it as a weapon, a tool. We approached it as a partner." Through the neural link, she sensed the Phoenix's agreement, not as words or thoughts, but as a harmonic resonance of purpose. The ship had been waiting for a species that would work with it rather than command it. Thilax conferred quietly with his delegation before turning back to the humans. "The Confederation must reevaluate Earth's status. This level of innovation was not anticipated for at least another century of your time." Perhaps, suggested Admiral Ishikawa, your evaluation methods need updating. Humanity may be younger than your member species, but we bring fresh perspectives to old problems. Indeed, Thalax's scales gradually return to their normal iridescence. The Confederation Council will want to discuss establishing formal relations with Earth, and perhaps a technology exchange program. We would welcome that, Ishikawa said, as equals. After the delegation departed, Rice stood alone on the observation deck, watching Earth rotate slowly below. Through the neural link, she felt the Phoenix's satisfaction, a sentiment that mirrored her own. What the Confederation had discarded as nearly worthless, humanity had transformed into something unprecedented. Not merely a warship, but a symbol of human ingenuity and adaptability. A demonstration that sometimes the greatest strength isn't raw power or advanced technology, but the ability to see potential where others see only limitations. The ship that had been meant as a token gesture, perhaps even a test, had become humanity's introduction to the galactic community. And the Phoenix, like its mythological namesake, had risen from the ashes of its former self to become something greater than its creators had ever imagined.